And we're live. All right. I'm just going to pop out the chat so that I can at least see it. This stream it should be very quick. Not really intending on having folks on here. But I'm having to set up everything again because I may have accidentally restarted my computer. I won't admit to that, but it did end up needing to get restarted. Yeah. Just be careful which window you're in when you do a power off. All right, we're doing this window as the chat, just in case anybody pops in. But we're gonna do a little small. Okay, so this morning, for those of you that might have been following along at home, we had I had tried to copy over some binaries, particularly these that I had been that I've run prior, right? So this is the Hello World that I ran on the original camera. This is a Donut, which I also was able to run on the original camera. I wanted to show that I could run those on Teacup. Now, when I did that this morning, at least with OpenIPC, we had we had a dynamic linking problem, okay? I'll give those to you just as context if I can bring it up. Because I really should bring it up. Is it already in my blog? Did I already publish my blog from this morning? May. Yeah, I did. Okay. So this is my other browser, so I have to make sure it's up. Let me share it. Blog. Sharing. Oh yeah, by the way, also, I understand my mic is different. This is the mic I'm using for work, and this is my work lunch. I've got a meeting at the bottom of the hour, I think. So these are the failed dependencies. We ran LDD on there, particularly libthread, which I didn't really technically need to include in these tests, but it was, I'll tell you why in a second. librrt, the standard C++, and libm. All right, so, and you notice that both of those are there. And the reason why they were even there in the first place, quite frankly, is because neither one of them used most of those functions. Take this browser down. Taking the browser down. Going back over here. Okay, so we'll have to reference another video, but what you're seeing right now is the the original SDK that I discovered in the second or third video for the T31. And so I've been using that as my build chain. There are others that have gotten the build chain to work and binaries to compile without using that SDK guide, but I have stuck to using it for now. I'm going to go ahead and take the chat window down unless I see somebody pop up. So inside that SDK, okay, inside the SDK, there are implementation examples and sysutil examples, okay? So, and I'm not going to go into those, but I was able to compile those successfully by following the basics of getting GCC working and their build chain working. And, you know, so these are exciting. I want to be able to run these. These are the Ngenic T31 reference examples. For example, to do video encoding, right? These are the things that I'm trying to get to. These are the things that are, for me, very important to both test and document in our Git repository. Okay, so those have a nice make file, and if I go to the lib sysutils, right? Same sort of thing. This is actually one of the places that I compiled hello world out of before, because again, these are things like blinking an LED, right? Blink LED is something that we want to be able to do. So if we look at the make file, it includes libraries that are not necessarily, or that are common libraries, okay? Common libraries to the SDK. That's just what I'm going to say. And so I wanted to follow that same scheme, right? And what I did is I just created another directory here under samples called simple samples. And what we have in here is donut and hello. All right. These make files. Hey, Zorky. Now I'm going to bring up the chat in case you say something. So that's the reason why I'm doing this, is because we're following the SDK reference examples, and then I wrote code, and like, for example, with donut, I took an example from the internet and got it to fit within this kind of sample structure, because I like engineering reference guides, right? All right, those have been made, but I can, here I'll show you, well, I already showed the make file, but I'm going to do a make dist clean. For the sake of time, you're going to have to trust. So I'm going to do make. Hold on. Forgot. Remember, I had to reboot. So I'm going to go to the guide. Oh, wait. I don't even have to go to the guide. I already have this command. I don't know if it's saved from the last time, but I should be able to bring it up from my Obsidian. It's just the path. It's just my shortcut. You'll see it in a second. Oh, and it's also probably, that one is actually in my command history. GCC, okay, it's this one. 1467. 1467. Also, Zorky, this is going to be a short one. I'm just trying to prove that the thing I started this morning actually does work. And I'm just on my work lunch. All right, so we exported the path. In reality, that is all we have to do in order to make this work. So I kept those dynamic linked binaries just so that we could see them for comparison. But here we did a make dist clean, right? And then I'm going to do a make, and these are going to compile. Now, some of the things I did have to do for this make file was, if I recall, it was the, I had to follow a C99 standard. And if I recall, or I had to make the exception, that is, for the C99 exception. This was weeks ago, so don't quiz me on the details right now. But that's because donut, which is an example, is, this is an example. And so I need to be able to take in things like one of the next ones I'm going to do is Zork, right? I want to compile Zork and run it on here. That sounds fun. Okay, so enough ado. I'm going to show you this on the Teacup. So I've already done the rigmarole of copying these onto the SD card. So we're going to show you that and like a cooking show. But I can prove it with the MD5 sum here in a second. We're at the OpenIPC. I'm at the OpenIPC U-boot. I'm on the U-boot prompt at the moment. And I'm going to boot off my SD card. Not that that's technically required for what I'm doing here, but that's what I'm going to do because it's the same thing I was doing this morning. So I'm going to quickly, I forgot the thing for setting the bash to to use VI, grep. It's not frozen. Cat. It's cat. Okay, 1515. Looks like the right command in my history. Gonna do that. That is gonna give me what broke down included in his README to be able to boot off the SD card image. We're gonna do a FAT file system load from the MMC, the first one, which is 0, and load it into that memory address, and the file name is uimage. Done. We did it. Fantastic. Can you guys tell that I have a different amount of energy in the middle of the day than I do at the beginning or the end? Here's the second. It's our boot arguments. We got our reserve memory, our memory. Those are already variables within uboot. We're setting our console, and our root file system is on the MMC. Bulk 0. Because remember, there are 2 controllers. I'd just like to remind everybody that one day I'm going to have a board and it's going to have 2 controllers on it. 2 SD card slots, 2 full SD card slots, but not today. That's a root file system. I'm going to hit this, and then now that we set those environmental variables, we're going to boot from this location in memory that we just loaded uimage to. This all should work. Very confident this time. This is on the Teacup Rev A board, hand assembled by our own Captain Ron. Really appreciate all the work that he did there. And by the way, Zorky, if you missed it, and everybody else, one of the great updates from this morning was that the manufactured, the assembly service from PCBWay, we got past all of our issues in manufacturing. They're red boards. I only have 5 coming, but I'll be sending those out. We're making them available. They're in shipment, and I have a tracking number. I'm not going to go into the tracking number right now. Do that maybe tonight. All right, we are booted on the 5.5 release. This is the image that Broke Down built, but it's not anything. It's special that he built it. It's not special that and that there is nothing special about it. I have 10 minutes until I have a hard stop and have to meet with my boss. So I copied those files into opt tests. I'm gonna just confirm MD5 sum donut so that you don't see anything up my sleeve, that there is nothing up my sleeve on here. MD5 sum donut, MD5 sum hello. Okay. A0FB for donut. A0FB for donut. 75B2 for hello. 75B2 for hello. These are the same files. Let's run it. Hello. Hello world. All right. Donut. Boom. We have a spinning donut. So these are applications that now we've run on the original, the board that kind of started this, that random $1 webcam that I found, compiled these, ran on it. Maybe I might have mangled that board a little bit, and I can't really run it on it right now without spending some time. My time right now is very limited, and so I just want to look forward and at least come back to a baseline and say the things that I ran then will run now, and then we can charge forward with things like Zork, building that image, etc., going through and flushing out reference examples, documenting them in the wiki. Yeah, so check out our good, yep, thank you very much, Zorky. I appreciate that it worked. I don't know how horrible my audio is, but we're just going to see. This is the, that's why I had it offset. Okay, sorry. That's why I had the window offset. Yep, lost my train of thought. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna run. And unless there's any other questions, Zorky, I think you're the only one here, or at least the only one that's commented. So unless there's any other questions, yep, just one person on. That's fine. I didn't want to announce this. The whole point was just to get through this. Oh, wait. That is the point. I didn't show you in the make file. I'm completely out of order. So that's why editing is important. nvim makefile. I cheated a little bit. This really should be in one of the envs, but I added the static. And yes, I probably could have done that this morning if my head was on straight enough. I could have done that this morning, but I'll tell you what, one of the reasons that I'm doing these streams and showing up is because I am out of practice. I get myself out of breath, and in the morning, if I'm also talking and doing these things, right, and like we got the stream and the chat and like figuring out how to do a little bit of improvement for everything, I lose my mind. But I know from being part of operations in the past and also doing live productions in the past that it takes practice and it takes rehearsal, and that's what I'm doing right here. And I appreciate you all bearing with me through the adventure. Zorky, thank you very much for popping on. Everybody else, I'll see you on the flip side. Happy hacking. Have fun. Bye-bye.